Okay, let's unpack this. We see a lot of listings,
Hmm.
a lot of luxury properties that are just, well, they're big boxes with marble
They
counters.
check the boxes.
They check the boxes, but they don't really have a soul. But today, we're looking at something different. Something that feels less like a house and more like an entry ticket into a very, very small club.
It really is a fascinating case study in exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's a lesson in how to buy into a lifestyle without the headaches that usually come with it.
So we're heading to Austin, Texas, specifically a place called McCormick Ranch. And the property is 908 Cypress Grove Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on paper, the numbers are big list price of $2.55 million, over 5,600 square feet. But that's not the hook for me.
No.
The hook is where it sits.
Exactly. And that is where the psychology of this buy gets really interesting. Because usually when you're spending $2.5 million in a city like Austin,
Oh,
you're choosing.
you have to make a trade-off.
You do. You're either right downtown in the thick of it with zero space, maybe a condo or a tiny lot, or you're way out in the country with land but zero amenities.
Mm-hmm.
This property, it tries to thread a very specific needle.
It's the unicorn location.
It is. It's about lifestyle curation. So I think the mission of this deep dive is to really understand the executive retreat. Who buys this?
Mm-hmm.
Why here instead of a waterfront mansion?
Mm.
And what does this house tell us about the modern high-end buyer in Texas?
So let's start with the neighborhood itself, because I think neighborhood might even be the wrong word. McCormick Ranch. It sounds huge, right?
It does. It sounds like you're buying a cattle farm with thousands of acres.
Exactly.
But it's actually the complete opposite. It's a tiny gated enclave.
How tiny?
According to the listing, at full build-out, which just happened in 2024, there are only 17 luxury homes.
17.
17, that's it.
That is why, I mean, I have more people than that in my book club. So you're telling me this entire subdivision is basically 17 families behind a gate?
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates this very specific dynamic. It's what you might call a pocket neighborhood or a micro-community.
Mm-hmm.
The appeal is intimacy and extreme privacy.
Right.
You aren't just a number on a massive grid. But, and here's the clever part, it sits right next to Steiner Ranch.
Which is the massive master plan community in that area, right? The one everyone knows.
Correct. It's the mega ranch.
Okay.
So McCormick Ranch is technically part of the Steiner Ranch HOA structure. You pay your dues, about $250 a month.
Okay.
And that grants you access to all the big amenities of your giant neighbor. The top-rated pools, the tennis courts, the parks, the hiking trails.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You get the benefits of the massive community infrastructure, the stuff that usually requires thousands of homeowners to pay for, but you don't actually live in the swarm.
That's the arbitrage. You use the big city infrastructure, but then you go home, drive through your own private gate off Quinlan Park Road, and you're in this quiet, low-traffic loop of just 17 estates. It's essentially subsidized luxury.
That is the best of both worlds cliche actually coming to life.
It really is. You get the infrastructure of the big city, but the silence of the country. And you get the aesthetic. It's all lush landscapes, views of the Texas Hill Country, some views of Lake Austin.
And the homes themselves.
They're not those stark, ultra-modern white boxes that look like art galleries. They blend contemporary with traditional. You see a lot of stone facades, not just angular steel. It feels established.
Speaking of established, let's look at the house itself. 908 Cypress Grove. It was built in 2018.
Right.
Now, in a market that is obsessed with new construction, does a 2018 build date hurt it at all?
I would argue the opposite. Context matters here. Remember, the neighborhood finished its build-out in 2024.
Okay.
So if this house was built in 2018, it was likely one of the anchor properties.
Meaning it got the pick of the litter for lots?
Likely. But also, think about the settling period. A brand new home can feel like a construction zone for the first 2 years. The landscaping is just twigs. A 2018 build today feels established. The trees have filled in. The kinks are worked out. It feels like a home, not a project.
And the scale is just massive. We're talking 5,637 square feet. But the kicker for me is the lot size. 0.9 acres.
A full acre.
Basically a full acre in a gated community. That is rare.
It's very rare. Usually if you want an acre in Austin, you're way out somewhere dealing with a septic tank and well water.
Right. And here you have this huge footprint with city utilities. And inside, 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms?
That bedroom count stood out to me immediately. 6 bedrooms.
Who needs 6 bedrooms? I mean, unless you're running a bed and breakfast.
Well, this speaks to that executive retreat persona we talked about. This isn't just for a family of 4. This screams multi-generational living or frequent house guests.
Okay.
You have to look at it through the post-2020 lens. Bedroom is a legal definition, not always a functional one.
You mean offices?
Exactly. If you're the buyer for a $2.5 million home, chances are high you're an executive or a business owner. You probably have a hybrid work schedule. You don't just need a desk in a corner. You need a dedicated Zoom room, maybe 2.
So 2 bedrooms become offices. That leaves 4.
And then you have the multi-generational trend. We are seeing a massive rise in high net worth buyers moving aging parents in with them, or adult children moving back.
The boomerang effect.
Right. So this house is built for flexibility. It can shapeshift as the family evolves.
It's designed to contain your entire life, work, family, extended family without friction.
That's it. It prevents that on top of each other feeling that can kill those multi-gen living arrangements.
Exactly. It's about autonomy within the household. But if we're going to talk about autonomy and lifestyle, we have to talk about the water. Because this is marketed as a Lake Austin lifestyle.
It is. And this is where the marketing gets really interesting.
But it's not on the water.
No. And that is a critical distinction. The listing says steps from Lake Austin. You can see it. You are right there. But you don't have the shoreline.
For a lot of people, that's a deal breaker. They want the dock. They want to walk out with their coffee and put their feet in the water.
But for the buyer of 908 Cypress Grove, I'd argue it's actually a feature, not a bug. And it all comes down to one specific thing this house has.
That's that.
The garage.
Oh, I saw this. It's a 4-car garage.
It's not just a 4-car garage. The listing specifies special use storage, RV boat garage with dual access.
Okay, break that down for us. Why is that the game changer?
Think about the actual lake lifestyle.
Right.
If you own a waterfront home, you're dealing with docks. You're dealing with the Lower Colorado River Authority for permits. You're dealing with erosion control.
And the maintenance. I've heard horror stories about docks needing constant repairs.
Exactly. It's a second job. But if you're an active luxury buyer, you want the fun without the headache.
So you buy this place. You keep your high-end wakeboard boat in your own climate-controlled dual-access garage.
You got it. You hook it up. You drive 2 minutes to the boat ramp, spend the day on the water, and then you bring it home.
Yeah.
You have the toy, but you don't have the algae. You don't have the sun damage. You don't have the marina fees.
That is a very smart way to look at it. It's like Lake Light.
It appeals to the control freak, the buyer who wants their boat detailed and spotless, not covered in spider webs at a marina.
And it connects to all the other recreation in the area. You're minutes from the UT Golf Club. You've got the Steiner Ranch Steakhouse, the Lake Travis Beer Garden. It's a leisure-first location.
It's a hub for what I'd call leisure infrastructure. If you are commuting to downtown Austin for work, which is about 30 minutes away, you want that transition to home to feel like you are checking into a resort.
It does sound like a permanent vacation, but let's step inside the house again, because if you aren't on the boat, you are probably entertaining. And this kitchen.
Wow, Wolf and Sub-Zero appliances.
The heavy hitters.
These are the brands that signal we actually cook here. This isn't just for show. When you see Wolf and Sub-Zero paired with a 6-bedroom layout, you know this house is designed to feed a crowd.
It's the chef's domain. But is it just brand signaling? Look at my red knobs.
There is always an element of signaling. But practically, Wolf and Sub-Zero are the gold standard for reliability and resale. When a buyer walks in and sees that fridge, they mentally check a box that says quality. It signals the builder didn't cut corners behind the walls either.
Right. It's a proxy for the overall build quality. And it flows right outside. The listing highlights a heated pool and spa, plus an outdoor kitchen and multiple covered patios.
This brings us back to that executive retreat concept. Imagine the buyer. Maybe they work in tech, maybe finance. When they sign off for the day, the home needs to function as a resort. They don't want to drive somewhere else to relax.
They just step out to the back patio, fire up the outdoor kitchen, the kids are in the heated pool.
And because they're on a full acre, they aren't staring directly into the neighbor's living room.
That privacy piece is huge, especially post-2020. People really value that distance.
They do. In a lot of newer luxury developments closer to town, you get the pool, but your neighbor's second-story window looks directly down into your hot tub. It's the fishbowl effect.
Right.
Here, that 1-acre lot creates a real buffer. It's a personal sanctuary. You're in a community of 17, but you are autonomous.
Okay, let's talk about the practical side of things, though, because Even millionaires have to think about logistics. If you have kids, schools are the #1 filter.
Absolutely. You can change the kitchen. You cannot change the school district. And for a relocation buyer, someone moving from California or New York, this is often where the search starts and ends. This property is in the Leander Independent School District.
Leander ISD, that's a big name in Texas.
It is a heavyweight district. The specific schools listed are River Ridge Elementary, Canyon Ridge Middle, and Vandergrift High.
And the ratings.
Here's the stat that matters. As of January 2026, Great Schools rates all three of them as 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 across the board. That is impressive.
That is a royal flush of public education.
Okay, but why does that matter if the buyer doesn't have kids? Say it's an empty nester couple buying this for the boat garage. Do they care about the middle school rating?
They should care deeply. School ratings are a primary driver of property appreciation. When the market dips, homes in top-tier school districts hold their value the best because there's always a line of parents trying to get in. Buying into the Vandegrift track is basically an insurance policy on your equity.
So even if you never step foot in the high school, you are profiting from it.
Exactly. It makes the asset liquid. And then there's the commute. We mentioned 30 minutes to downtown.
Right, give or take traffic.
Obviously. And about 15 minutes to Lake Travis, and 10 minutes to the shops, Target, restaurants, that sort of thing. It feels like you are away, but you aren't stranded.
That's the balance. You're not in the city. You can't just stumble out your door to a coffee shop. You have to get in the car. But the buyer for this, they're probably not commuting 5 days a week anyway.
Probably not. 2-3 days, maybe?
Yeah.
And we should touch on taxes. It's Texas, so.
Right. Property taxes are a thing.
They are. The rate here for 2024 was about 1.78%, which in the context of new developments in Texas is actually quite competitive.
So it's manageable.
It is. It makes a tangible difference in the monthly nut.
So let's try to put a face to this buyer. Who is signing the contract for 908 Cypress Grove?
I think we're looking at a family executive or the active entrepreneur. This is someone who has graduated from the need for the downtown penthouse status symbol. They don't need to be seen at the hip bar every night.
They've moved to the function over flash phase of wealth?
Well, the status is still there, but it's a quiet status. It's private flash. It's the status of, I live in a 17-home gated enclave. But practically, they need the 6 bedrooms. They want the safety of the gate, the quality of the schools, and the resort in their backyard because they're busy.
It's the frictionless life.
Perfectly put. It removes the friction of boat maintenance, the friction of commute versus privacy, the friction of crowding. They are buying a machine for living.
So what does this all mean for us? Why does this specific property matter in the grand scheme of things?
I think it represents a shift in luxury. We're moving away from mansion as a monument, where it's just about curb appeal, and towards mansion as infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
This house is infrastructure. It stores your vehicles. It educates your kids via the district. It feeds your guests. It relaxes you. It's highly functional.
It's not just a pretty face.
No. And frankly, at $2.55 million, it shouldn't be.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, though. We talked about that 17-home enclave, and I want to leave the listener with a thought about that number. 17.
It is a very small number.
It is, and I wonder, does a community that small create a bond, like a village, where everyone knows everyone, or does it feel like a fishbowl?
That is the provocative question. In a neighborhood of 500, you can be anonymous. You can be the guy who never waves and nobody cares.
Exactly.
In a neighborhood of 17, if you don't wave to your neighbor, they know.
There is nowhere to hide. You have ultimate exclusivity, but you also have social visibility. Everyone knows when you leave. Everyone knows when you get a package.
It creates a village dynamic. For some, that is safety and community. We all look out for each other. For others, that feels oppressive.
It's the difference between a hotel and a bed and breakfast. Some people want the hotel where no one knows their name. This is definitely the bed and breakfast.
A very expensive, very private bed and breakfast.
So is 908 Cypress Grove the perfect fortress, or is it too quiet for some? That's the trade-off of the enclave.
It's a fascinating dynamic to consider.
Well, while you mull that over, just imagine backing your boat into that 4-car garage after a long day on the lake. That part, I think we can all agree, sounds pretty nice.
Hard to argue with that. Hard to be unhappy with a wakeboard boat in the driveway.
That's it for this deep dive into the McCormick Ranch lifestyle. We'll catch you on the next one.